Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to our next episode in our complete reading of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. And here we are entering into one of the most important itihasas told as a sub-story within Ramayana, and that is Shanmukhotpatti. As I informed in the previous episode itself, this is something that is highly recommended that pregnant women read or listen at least to Shanmukhotpatti, because Shanmukhotpatti takes away any garbhastha doshas, any doshas that the child might have. Shanmukhotpatti effectively takes away all of them. So let's get into Shanmukhotpatti. Where are we in terms of the story as such in Ramayana? We are at a place where Sri Ramachandra has asked Vishwamitra Maharshi again. He has asked for a second time to tell how Ganga became Tripathaga, or how she is in all the three worlds. Now Vishwamitra Maharshi is going to explain it. And he started off initially, we saw that in the last episode where Vishwamitra Maharshi started off initially by saying, "Hey Ramachandra, there was Himavanta. Himavanta and his wife, they had two daughters. One was Ganga and the other is Parvati and or Uma. And Ganga became the greatest of all the rivers. Uma Devi, Gauri Devi, Parvati Devi, give her whatever name you want, and she became the greatest because she got to marry the Mahadeva himself, Shiva himself." So this part was already told, but now Sri Ramachandra is asking as to how Ganga came into all the three worlds, like Swarga, Martya, Patala Lokas. And for this, we are going to now see the explanation of Vishwamitra Maharshi. Now, Vishwamitra Maharshi started off by saying, see, as I told you, Parvati and Parameshwara, they both got married. And then post-marriage, they both were enjoying with each other, and they shut themselves off from the world for some time, which is very common in couples after marriage. And they both were enjoying with each other, and this went on, this probably you can say this enjoyment of both of them, it went on for almost 100 years. They both were playing with each other, they both were having a good time with each other, and this went on for 100 Divya Samvatsaras is what it is told. Now don't bring it to today's planes and measure, because we know that in Ramayana itself, Sri Ramachandra ruled for 11,000 years, and his father ruled for 60,000 years. So when the time scale was that big, this happened even before that time scale. So 100 Divya Samvatsaras is not much, right? Just to put things in a perspective, I'll give you a small example. See, we all see that Lakshmana served Sri Ramachandra without sleep for almost 14 years is what they say, right? And that's in a time span of, when Sri Ramachandra ruled for 11,000 years. When you look at those 14 years in perspective, those 11,000 years, and then when you try to map it to Kali Yuga, where a person lives for 100 years at the max, and when you try to map how those 14 years would get mapped to this time scale of 100 years, that would come to around 39 days, right? So now when we are saying that Shiva and Parvati had a nice time for about 100 Divya Samvatsaras, now don't bring in a lot of questions, try to understand this from that timeline perspective. Okay, now when this was happening and they did not still have a child, they were just enjoying with each other. Around this time, all the Devathas got concerned and they said, "Are, Shiva himself is so powerful, and Parvati Ma also is such a great tapaswini. Now, if they both have a child, will the earth be able to handle it?" That was the fundamental question all these people had. And then they rushed to the place where Shiva and Parvati were there. They knocked the door, they wanted Shiva Mahadeva to come out. And Shiva Mahadeva, he left Parvati in the Antahpura and he came out. And he asked, "Why did you all come?" And then they said, "Hey Shiva, we don't think the earth will be able to, or this world will be able to bear your child. Hence, we request you to not have a child. But Shiva said, no, my Tejas is about to come out. What do I do with it? Then they said, no, then leave it out on the earth, but don't push for a child now with Ma, because the earth might not be able to handle it. Now Shiva just said, okay, and he left his Tejas on the earth. And then suddenly this entire Tejas was gripping the whole of earth, and the earth was not able to bear it. Now, when the earth was not able to bear it, the Bhumata went back and said, hey, I'm not able to handle this Tejas. Somebody should take it, and it is causing a burning sensation all over. Then the Devathas quickly said, Arey, we might have made a mistake. Earth is not able to take it now. So what do we do? They immediately called Agni Deva and said, Agni Deva, you yourself a fire, and anything burning should not be able to trouble you. So you please take that Tejas and keep it with you. Agni Deva just obeyed what all other Devatas said. In the interim, Parvati Ma came out. She understood what all has happened, and when she understood what all has happened, she got extremely angry, and in that anger, she released a Shapavak, or she gave a curse to all the Devatas, saying that you guys will never have children from your wives. Now, if you remember, when we were discussing the episode of Sri Rama Janana, where Sri Rama was getting born, in that episode, we also said that Brahmadeva, just before Sri Ramachandra was about to be born, Brahmadeva orders all Devatas to have children from Apsara Stris, Vanara Stris, and all, so that there will be Vanaras who can come out and help Sri Ramachandra in the battle against Ravanasura. And there he explicitly says, because of Parvati Devi's curse, you will not have children from your own wives, right? So if you are able to relate it to that and this, you would really know how these two things actually get complement each other. Now, Parvati Devi gave this curse. All Devatas, they did not know where. They were not even able to make an eye contact with Shiva. They just went away from that place, and Shiva left the place where they both were having a sort of happiness or an enjoyment. Shiva left the place where he and Parvati were playing, and from there he moved west, and he went to Kailasa to live along with Parvati Ma. So this is how the first part of the Itihasa has happened. Now, all days won't be favorable to us, right? People realize that now Shiva and Parvati are not going to have a child now, and one Rakshasa identified this, and he went and did a lot of tapasya for Brahmadeva. Chaturmukha Brahmaji, gave a darshan to that Rakshasa. His name was Tarakasura, and now he asked for a boon, and he said, make me immortal. Brahmadeva said, hey, it's not possible. You can't become an immortal. When Brahmadeva said this, Tarakasura said, okay, if I have to die, I want to die in the hands of the child of Shiva and Parvati Ma. Brahmadeva said, yes. And now Tarakasura attacked the heavens. All these Devatas were in complete trouble. They just did not know how to handle Tarakasura. They now ran back to Brahmaji, Chaturmukha Brahmaji, and said, how can we kill this guy? And Brahmaji said, see, he asked for a boon that he would die in the hands of the son of Shiva, and I granted him that boon. So it's up to you as to how you get the son of Shiva. Now Devatas really knew that, now they know that they can't go back and ask Shiva and Parvati Ma, saying that, sorry, we made a mistake. We asked Shiva not to have a son with you, but now our house is on fire, so please go ahead and have a son. No, that will be very awkward also, right? So now these Devatas were thinking, and they suddenly thought they had a plan. Agni Deva was having Shiva's Tejas, and if this Tejas can be given to any woman, from her womb, they might get a son who can go ahead and kill Tarakasura. When they got this idea, they discussed this with Brahmaji, and Brahmaji said, okay, I'll give you an option here. Don't go to any other woman. See, Parvati Devi's elder sister is Gangaamaa, and you give this Tejas to Gangaamaa, and probably if she can take a woman's form and take this Tejas, probably she will have a son, and that son might help you in defeating Tarakasura. So all Devathas now summoned Agni, and they said, hey Agni, please go and give the Tejas that you are holding to Gangaamaa so that Gangaamaa can deliver a child. So Agnideva goes and gives the Tejas to Gangaamaa, and Gangaamaa says, oh, this is burning me, because normally a water in a river should be able to douse any fire, but here Gangaamaa, who was a river herself, she was not able to handle this, and she started asking Devas or Devathas, where do I put this Tejas, because I am not able to handle it anymore. Then all the Devatas thought for a while and said, okay, please go to Bhuloka, where mortals live, and there is a place called Sharavana Tataka. Leave this Tejas near that Sharavana Tataka, because Sharavana Tataka is the place where Parvati Ma took the shape of Sharavana Tataka during the Bhasmasura episode. So when Bhasmasura was running after Shiva saying that I'll turn you into ashes, then Parvati Ma did not really want to come in front of Bhasmasura, because that would send out a very wrong signal. So she immediately turned into a lake, and that's called Sharavana Tataka, and that's near Kailasa. So Brahmaji told Gangaamaa, and not just Brahmaji, all the Devatas told Gangaamaa, please take this Tejas there and leave it near the Sharavana Tataka, because in essence you would be leaving the child, because the Tejas is going to take the form of a child. Okay, you are essentially leaving this Tejas at the mom's doorstep. So Sharavana Tataka is Parvati Ma's is another form of Parvati Ma only. So when you are leaving this Tejas at Sharavana Tataka, you essentially are leaving the child with the mother. So Gangaamaa took the Tejas there and she left it at the Sharavana Tataka. Now, the moment Shiva's Tejas touched Sharavana Tataka, now when I am saying Tejas, one meaning of Tejas is aura, the other meaning of Tejas is the Retas. So I am using Tejas as a substitute for the word Retas, the bodily fluid that comes out of men. Okay, and that actually contributes to the Tejas also, and that's another name for it is Tejas. So that's why I'm using that word here. The audience who are listening to this, I request them to take a note of it. Okay. Now the Tejas was left at Sharavana Tataka. All of a sudden, gold, silver, lead, and many other lohas or many other minerals came out. The moment the Tejas touched the land near Sharavana Tataka, all these metals came out, and the gold, silver, and all they came out, and also they suddenly had a boy, and he had 6 faces. Devathas requested Krittikas to come and feed him. So the Krittikas said, if you want us to feed this boy, you need to call him Kartikeya. They said, Devathas said, yes, he will be called Kartikeya. So the boy who came out of Shiva's Tejas was called Kartikeya, because he came out with 6 faces. He is called Shanmukha, and in Tamil Nadu he is very fondly called as Murugan, because he got the entire beauty from his mother. So he is called as Murugan, and because he was born out of Shiva's Tejas, he is also called as Skanda. Okay, because the Tejas was held for some time by Agni Deva, he is also called as Pavaki. So there are so many names. Okay, and since he drank milk from Krittikas, he is called as Kartikeya. So many names for this man. He grew up to be one of the greatest warriors. He goes and then he kills Tarakasura and helps the Devatas. In Puranas, it is said that Parvati Ma and and Sri Mahavishnu are brother and sister. Now, for Lakshmi Devi, or it is her husband's sister's son, and she calls him Maramaragan, I think, right? So he's such a beautiful person, and not just this, Kartikeya, who is also called as Subramanya Swamy, he later on goes on to teach Shiva the Pranavartha, right? So that's the level at which Kartikeya is, and and then yeah, you might think, why did Shiva let all this happen? Putradichet Parajyam. Every father wants to be defeated by his son, because that's one of the greatest things, or one of the greatest joys in life. Okay, I have learned something, my son has gone 2 notches above me, and I got humbled in terms of knowledge in front of my son. Many men would wear that as a medal on their chest, right? Now, one fundamental doubt that we may get in this entire episode is, why did Shiva leave the Tejas onto earth when Devathas came and asked for it? Why did he not even consult Parvati? Now, this is a very interesting question, because that comes up from anyone's mind, right? But then the answer for this is very interesting. Sanat Kumara once has a dream. Sanat Kumara is one of the Brahma Manasa Putras, right? Lord Brahmaji has 4 Manasa Putras: Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Sujata, right? So, in that, Sanat Kumara once has a dream that he was leading the army of Devathas and killing Danavas. So he wakes up and says, I am a Brahmarshi, or I am a person who has become one with the Brahman. So for me, everything in the world is the same: the good, the bad, the ugly, the sukha, the dukkha. I am above all this duality. I am above every dvandva in this world. So when I am above every dvandva in this world, why am I having a dream where I am leading an army of gods and fighting with demons? This was something that he was not able to comprehend. So he goes to Brahmadeva and asks for this, and he is told that, see, in one of your previous births, you are a Vedadhyayi, and you heard that demons are coming and hurting all the people who read Vedas. Then you felt that you should go and teach them a lesson. So just because you had that thought in your previous Jarma, now you are having the thought, now you had a dream, and in the dream you went and killed the demons. Then Sanat Kumara says, oh, if it's the case, how would I get rid of this entire karma? Then he is again told that you will have to take a birth and get this wish fulfilled. So Sanat, and one day when Shiva and Parvati were there, he walks through Kailasa. Shiva says, I am so happy with you, Sanat Kumara. You ask me for any boon, I'll give you. Then Sanat Kumara says, for me, the whole world is one. So in this, I really don't want any boons or anything. If you want, I'll give you a boon. Then Shiva says, okay, give me one boon, or give me one word that you will be born as a son to me. Then Sanat Kumara says, haha, I'll be born as a son to you. Then Parvati, who is standing beside Paramashiva, she says, why are you saying that you will be born as a son to Paramashiva only? You should be born as a son to both of us, to me and Shiva. That's the correct way of saying it. Then Sanat Kumara says, no, I would be born as a son only to Shiva. And that's how, and that is known to Shiva. And that's why when Devathas came and asked for the Tejas to be left on the earth, he leaves it on the earth. Okay, and from there, this entire thing has happened, right? So in this way, we have seen for the first time that Gangaamaa also came to earth once, but only for a brief period. She leaves the boy there, and then she leaves the boy near the Sharavana Tataka, and then she moves away from there. So this is one place where Gangaamaa has come. But then how did Gangaamaa end up flowing on the earth? That's what we are going to discuss in our next episode, and that's called as Gangavatarana. We all must have heard about Bhagiratha, and anyone who works really hard to get something done, we all call him, we all call that effort as Bhagirata Prayatna, and we call him Apara Bhagirata, right? So we'll look at all that in the next episode of our talk on Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. And this episode of Kartikeya Janana or Kumara Sambhava or Shanmukhotpatti, give it whatever name you want. Anyone who listens to this, any pregnant woman who listens to this, she will, and the child who is in the womb of that lady, that child will become a good child for the parents and for the samaja or for the world as such. Okay, that's the falashruti that was said. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pasyamtu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Ram. Sarvam Satkri Sai Simrahaswam Charanarvindar Paramastu. Swasti.